This WAFLW live stream is proudly brought to you by Optus, proud naming rights partner of the WAFL, and WAFLW, Bupa, proud sponsor of WA football. And the West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams.
Are you ready? Ready to go? Are you ready? Ready for more? Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, oh my. Are you ready? Ready or not? Are we going? And I can't stop. Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, oh my. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Preliminary final action coming your way here from Leederville Oval. What a spectacular day it is here in Perth, and it's a massive game here for Subiaco and Swan districts. Both teams out on the ground, enjoying these conditions a whole lot more than what they faced last week. And on those two occasions, Swan districts, of course, successful against Claremont in the first semi-final, while Subiaco were defeated quite comfortably in the end by East Fremantle. As a result, these two teams playing off today for a spot in the grand final against the Sharks, to be played next Saturday at Mineral Resources Park. Dave Lindsay in commentary with you this afternoon. There are Swan districts about to get their last couple of messages from their leaders before they head out onto the field against Subiaco, the team that finished on top of the table, desperate to not disappear out of this competition in straight sets this season. They've had a fantastic year, and on the surface at least they deserve to be in a grand final, but Swan certainly won't make it easy for them. They've been in tremendous form over the last month and loom probably as the favourites today, despite the fact that they finished a couple of spots beneath Subiaco on the table. What a match we've got for you coming up shortly. We'll take a break. On the other side, introduce the rest of our commentary team and get stuck into this preliminary final here from Leederville Oval.
Nature knows it's better to be part of a group than out on your own. To be surrounded by others whose sole purpose is to keep you safe and well. At Bupa, we call it Members First. A network of thousands of healthcare providers, all there for you. Search Bupa Members First.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
There's a high ball.
Don't you diddle, don't you daddle, you better skedaddle. You need to run for your life. Well, like Virginia Creeper, well, didn't want to keep her, just maybe for a while. You're the lady in a hurdle. Well, I feel that day.
Yeah, incredibly exciting. It's obviously a new chapter in my career, in my football career, but I'm incredibly excited to be here and a part of this football club. And I've been really impressed by the professionalism, the level of respect that they've treated me through this process, and I guess the core values that the club have. The product that we're producing now for AFLW has really grown over 3 years, but the next 3 to 5 years is going to be incredible, and some really talented girls coming through, and I can't wait to actually work alongside them. And I felt like I'd be a part of a family here.
All set to go in the preliminary final. Subiaco and Swan districts to do battle here. A spot in the grand final up for grabs as the umpire holds the ball aloft. We welcome Alana Dickey to the commentary team. Dickey, welcome.
Thanks for having me on board. I'm excited. I reckon it's going to be a great match.
Certainly will be. Mimstrom and Piscaneri, the two rucks, to get started in the middle of the ground, and it's Swan District through Stannett getting the first kick of the game up towards Hyde. She's well tackled. Nice work from Claire Ortlip, and the umpire's going to penalise her. Filicamo came in to finish off the tackle. She'll actually get the free kick, and she puts it out in front of Hayley Miller, who marks. What a beautiful day for football we have. Alana Dickey, of course, Claremont assistant coach and player of quite some note. Unfortunately, you'd love to be out there yourself playing, Dickey, but stuck up here in the commentary box. Probably the second best place to be out there on the ground. We'll hear more from you in just a moment as Swans need to repel this attack from Subiaco, and they do so nicely. A long kick out towards the outer wing. Cameron gives a nudge on an opponent and then soccers into space towards left half forward. Nice work there from Antonio, being hassled by Devlin, and takes a high, does Devlin. The free kick will go the way of the Fremantle superstar. Antonio long and high inside 50. And they've set this up nicely. Davison goes over the top and Houghton marks at the top of the goal square. Nice build-up from Swan Districts. They've gone the length of the ground, Dickie, and now they've got a shot for goal.
Yeah, I think there's some exciting matchups that I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more of. So B. Devlin starting back on Ebony Antonio, so I think that's going to prove to be a good little contest as well. And then it looks like we've also got a bit of a change in the Subi forward line as well, with Stubbs rolling through there too. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good match.
Houghton gets the first goal of the game. She's been a real goal kicker for Swan Districts. She's never been held goalless in her matches this year for Swans. That's her 13th goal of the season. She did kick 3 against Subiaco back in round 9. On the one occasion this year that Swans defeated the Lions, Subiaco won in the first round by 29 points. Swans in round 9 by 14. As we mentioned on that occasion, it was Gemma Houghton leading the way up forward with 3 goals. And then a thriller in round 11, just 1 point in it between the two sides, but Subiaco finished the better. You've obviously faced both of these sides over the course of the season, and on paper their team's extremely strong. How did you find the two teams to battle with over the course of the year?
Yeah, I think Swans have really found their form throughout the last few weeks, and it looked like they've moved a few people into different positions to find them to play their best brand of footy. And I think that, yeah, their dynamic depth is going to be a tough one for Subi to beat. But Subi have been very strong in the midfield, so yeah, I think either way it's going to be a great game. But yeah, I think Swans are definitely going to have a bit more run across the board that'll challenge Subi.
The ball in dispute just inside the arc for Subiaco. Jaya Surya gets it back to Courtney Guard. Stubbs, take your pick. Dowrick has a snap from the pocket that hits the behind post. It's been one of the tricks of the season, trying to work out whether it's Courtney Stubbs or Courtney Guard, of course, recently married.
Yes, nicknames, they tend to stick once you get one in footy, so it is hard to change.
Well, especially when in the football budget, she still goes by Courtney Stubbs.
Yes,
so
yes.
Makes it tricky to know whether she'd prefer us to call her Courtney Guard or Courtney Stubbs. I suppose as long as we're calling her name a lot, she won't mind too much what we call her. Nice kick on the left from Sharp, finds Cameron. She's been impressive throughout the season, Cameron. Played a very good first half last week, went off the ground with a bit of a knee problem, but all must have been okay because she's taken her place in the Subiaco lineup. That ball going out off hands, so we'll see a boundary throw in right beneath our broadcast position.
Another good matchup we've got is Lyndall Road, and it looks like Ashley Sharp, both playing on the wing, so I think that's going to be another good matchup as well.
They'll get to know each other pretty well over the course of the next summer. Of course, Lyndall Road getting an opportunity with Fremantle as a rookie. Ball in dispute here, and Stannett takes it away. One of Swan's best last week, high up and under towards half forward. Davison tried to toe poke it through the traffic, and then she's fallen into the back or taken her opponent high, according to the umpire. And Cowie will get the free kick once she picks herself up off the deck. Couldn't have more contrasting conditions today, Dickie, to what the two sides found last week in both their matches.
Yeah, I definitely would prefer to play in weather like this today than last week. It was definitely tough. Trying conditions last week, and obviously made it more about who wanted it more rather than the brand that you like to play. So today's going to be good to actually be able to see both teams. Obviously playing their best brand of football. I think it's going to be nice to watch.
Stannett with a free kick. Goes long. Juggled attempt, and it's been paid to Subiaco. Claire Ortlip, bit of a veteran of the Lions now. Flares her kick wide to Road. Been very impressive this season, Lyndall Road. Ex-netballer. Hits up the leading Miller. Off a step, Hayley Miller close to the boundary. Here is Guard, couldn't quite reel it in, and it's gone out of play. In a pile of sand, you can see a fair bit of work's been done around the ground to repair Leederville Oval after the deluge of rain that it's copped over the winter. Boundary up high coming in the 10 metres. How have you found that rule this year, Alana?
Yeah, I think it does help the congestion and obviously repeat boundary throw-ins, so it just gives us a bit more of an opportunity to try to get a clearance rather than just keep pushing it over the boundary line. So, yeah, I've enjoyed it.
I think a lot of the boundary umpires take it as a bit of a personal insult, but it's not not designed to improve their boundary throw-in. It's designed to open the game up. Speaking of opening it up, Subiaco with the breakaway there, and Tester on a long lead has marked. She's got Brianna Hyde manning the mark at the moment. Long kick towards the top of the goal square, 2-on-2. Lewis down there, can't quite take the mark, and then she fights on, forces a ball up just outside the goal square.
I'm excited to see what Tani Tester can do today against Swan District. She hasn't been able to score a goal against them the last time they played. She didn't actually get the opportunity to play. I think she was being rested.
Quick snap from Dowrick. She's hit the behind post earlier. This time she's missed away to the left.
Yeah, but obviously Subi know her strengths, and she tends to find some space. And I think if Swans aren't accountable, she'll make it hurt, make them hurt.
What is it about Tani Tester? She's kicked 26 goals this year, and at the end of the home and away season, that was more than double any other player in the competition. What makes her such a dangerous player?
She manages to find space, and she just wraps around. And if you're not holding her accountable, she'll really make the most of the opportunity and the space that you give her. So I think what Swans did last time when she played against them, she matched her up really well, and she wasn't able to impact. So they're going to have to stay on touch. Otherwise, she'll just get it out the back, and she'll definitely get some score on the board.
From the stoppage, Swans work it back. The kick goes towards the wing. Davison, so impressive last week. Ball gets out the back and away with a bit of dash is Houghton. She's had 2 bounces, draws a player towards her, beats that tackler, kicks to a 1-on-1. Antonio over the back, should take this mark. Gemma Houghton, sensational play. Now Hyde is streaming forward towards the goal square. The kick doesn't quite hit her. Coming across, doing a good job as Devlin, forces the hand pass to go back to Antonio. She feeds it back to Webb, a fumble. Swans might have made a mess of things here. Webb dragged off her kick. Davison has another opportunity, can't pick it up cleanly. Devlin's soccer kick went nowhere. High tackle, and Subiaco will get a free kick. It'll go the way of Ritchie in defence. And they really did make a mess of things there, Swan Districts, after such a promising build-up. Walker, a bit of a late inclusion today. Added to the team sheet, wasn't named on Thursday night. Swans will get that opportunity to set up again. Davison, chip pass, great lead from Houghton. She's put it down though. Look at the athleticism. Recovery was brilliant. Charges in towards goal. She sprayed it across the face. What a dynamic player she's become.
Yeah, her growth over the last couple of seasons has been really great to watch. Obviously, she just took the game on, shoving off a couple tackles that came towards her, and a great kick to advantage, which made it really nice for Ebony to be able to mark. So, yeah, she's really started to add different elements to her game, and I think that's where getting the matchup right on her is important. So, yeah, it's going to be good to see what she can bring to the game today as well.
These Fremantle wait to find out who their opponent will be in the grand final. Swans with a bright start here today. Bowen has the football, kicks in the direction of Houghton, goes one-handed. The spoil was made from behind. Matthews dishes it off towards Hyde, and Michaela Hyde with the left boot has kicked the goal. Great start from Swans. They've got the early couple of goals. We're midway through this first quarter.
What I like about Swans is they tend to get a lot of marks inside 50 as well. So rather than just blazing away, they really take the time to look up and try to find a bit of space and put it out in front of their teammate, rather than just always looking for that direct 100% hit up. So they give their teammate a bit of extra space to work within, which really obviously helps as a forward. Playing forward, you love it if they give you a bit of room to make the defender work a little bit more. So that's one thing that I think they're doing really well. They've already had a number of marks inside 50, which is great.
Michaela Hyde with goal number 15 for the year. Not bad for a 17-year-old in State League football. Seems to have been around forever, Michaela Hyde, and she's not even playing, hasn't even turned 18 as yet. She's got a big year ahead of her next year, of course. Chance to build her prospects of being drafted at the end of next season.
Yeah, she managed to kick a couple last week as well. She tends to she knows where the goals are, and really, again, is one that can pop up from Swans and add score to the score on the board. So again, Swans have a dynamic forward line that they have to obviously, they don't have to, but they share the load around, which makes it hard for the opposition defenders.
Kelly Gibson, she's hard to catch. Fires the hand pass back, and Swans will clear. Ball on the wing. Cowie tackled by Hyde, but gets her kick away. Road gives chase. The ball doesn't get to her. Ferguson gets there first for Swans. Tackled and wrapped up by Forth. And the umpire calls for the football. Good sprinkling of spectators on the outer side enjoying the football here today, enjoying the weather as well. And it was a nice touch from Swans when they ran out onto the field this afternoon as well, carrying some Swan Districts branded footballs and handing them out into the crowd, which I think you enjoyed as well, Dickie. A lot of kids got out there to have a kick as well before the first siren.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice little touch, and adding to, I guess, what they do. They're very professional with how they approach things, and that just sort of adds to it, making it about the fans as well and getting them involved. So I thought that was great to see.
It was a massive day. Next week we'll speak a bit about the WAFLW Grand Final. Will be live on Channel 7 in the lead up towards the AFL Finals next week as well. Gibson's kick into the middle of the ground was risky, but it's worked out nicely. Ferguson kicks high up and under into the middle of the ground. Antonio had front position, took the mark on the chest. Got Matthews breaking. Kick goes over her head, hoping for Sharp. One out against Road. The ball favours Sharp. She tracks it well, paddles her own advantage, straightens up. Unfortunately, she's pushed the kick away to the left. And Swans are looking extremely dangerous, and Subiaco need to respond very quickly here, Dickie. Otherwise, they might get blown out of the water in the first quarter.
Yeah, Swan's transition is really good, and that's where they like to obviously bring it out the other way. And if you're not on top of that transition quickly, they tend to move it from one end to the other very, very fast. So Subi are going to have to be a bit quicker on the transition and try to block off their switch to make it harder for them to move the ball so quick.
Golisano's kick going out without anyone else touching it. Last possession rule going against Subiaco on this occasion. And Gibson will get the free kick. Wants to move it on pretty quickly. Long and direct towards Houghton. The fist got in the way there from Subiaco. Filicamo. Chip pass is good to Piscaneri. Takes the mark and then charges away. Hand pass given off towards Harkin. Her kick a little scrubby. Playing in front. Swan's able to hold it up through Pescud. Get some support from Ralph. Unfortunately for her, she turns the kick over. Courtney Gard has it in the middle of the ground now. Sends her kick out towards right half forward. Jayasuria couldn't quite get to it. Toth at the back with the left boot. Kicks towards full forward. Pescud playing in front. Takes the mark. We've seen Brianna Hyde down there against Tester, and now Pescud. A couple of state under-18s players, Dickie, and got the big task on the league's leading goal kicker.
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job so far because they're not really giving her much space to work within. So when Subi look up, they just see man on man, which obviously is not something that makes it easy to find a decision as to who to hit up. So I think Tani's just going to have to run them around and really find that space to get the ball out in front and just be able to run onto it, which is obviously a strength of hers.
Tremendous faith shown by the coach as well, of course. Cara Donnellan giving two youngsters the opportunity to shut down the most dangerous forward in the competition. 26 goals for the season. Goalless last week, though, against East Fremantle, and she hasn't had a sniff just yet today. That ball bouncing off the chest of Toth. Strom collects, does well. Feeds a hand pass away to the running Maguire, who spots up Michaela Hyde. Couldn't mark. Recovery was okay. Gets her left boot towards Houghton. Bundled over by Golisano. Close to the line, Bowen will arrive. And unfortunately, it's come off the boot thereof, Golisano. So Bowen will get the free kick. First player signed by the West Coast Eagles leading up towards next season. She charges away, kicks in the direction of Antonio, used the body well. Hand pass over the top. Houghton will run into the open goal, and she's got two. Puts the ball out onto Vincent Street. You can go and collect that one if you're driving by at the moment. Great start from Swans. Real danger signs here for Subiaco.
Yeah, you mentioned the number of under-18s players out there that are doing a fantastic job. They've got, this is what I love about Swans, is their young guns really step up and help the depth of their team. So with Swans, there's no real gaps or holes. All these young players seem to be playing their role really well for the team. And, the Hyde twins and obviously we mentioned Pescud down back as well. But you've got players that, like a Bowen that's in there as well, that plays a huge role through their midfield too. So, yeah, it's great to see these young girls, playing a big part in our WAFLW season.
There's going to be a warning here for it's not 6-6-6, is it? It's 5-6-5 in the 16-a-side competition. Subiaco a little tardy to get into position down in defence. They might be a little bit rattled with the start that they've received here from Swan Districts. Miller gets the clearance, high kick in the Toth direction. Brianna Hyde watching her closely, fisted away by Maguire towards the boundary and out of play. How have you seen that transformation in Emily Maguire's game to be moved from a key position up forward to be probably one of the most reliable defenders in the competition right now.
Yeah, she reads the ball really well, and obviously she played forward because she's got a really great set of hands, and obviously throwing her back, she reads the footy and intercept marks really well, and obviously a huge leg on her, so she does a great clearing kick for the Swans as well. So I think it's been a very smart decision to roll her back, and she's definitely earned her position being picked up by West Coast. So yeah, I congratulated her last week. Obviously when we got to play against each other, but yeah, she's had a great season, and obviously well deserved being rewarded for that.
Guard did well there. Got the kick away under pressure. Rosengrave towards the top of the goal square. Great spoil from Peskard. I think O'Driscoll will do enough. Yes, she rushes it through for a behind. And there's another couple of youngsters down there. Hyde, Peskard, O'Driscoll, all under 18s players, all playing in defence for Swans. Yet to concede a goal. And we're only a minute and a half away from the quarter-time siren, just the 18-minute flat quarters in WAFLW. Maguire to do the kicking in. Not her best kick. Didn't make good contact. It wobbled, made it tough for Harkin to mark, but she pops a hand pass away to Miller. Wants her right side. Straightens up well. Sends the kick goalward, but again, just away to the left. And Subiaco with a couple of late opportunities in this term, but unable to find the goal that they so desperately need. They may well go to quarter time goalless. Not the start they were after, the Lions.
Swans have done really well to obviously have most of the football, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can slow it down now and obviously close off this quarter, and a great start for them.
Maguire short to Gibson. Gibson short back to the goal square for Maguire. Happy to wind down the clock a little. Darrick being brought back to the top of the goal square as the new rule is in play, that 9-metre rule. Maguire high up and under this time. Road gets to the front, can't take the mark. Swans arrive in numbers just to hold things up. And they're pretty keen to see that clock tick down to 18 and the siren to end the first quarter. Umpire calls for nominations. Haley Miller nominates. Mim Strom's running from a long way away to contest, but the umpire waves her away. So Miller gets to take clean possession. Hand pass to Claire Ortlip. Gets a good piece of it all the way to the goal square. Darrick won out against Maguire, but Maguire's too clever. Found some space where there wasn't much. Long kick. Gibson a big leap. Couldn't quite reel it in. And Swans have done well here. They've managed to hold on. And they've kept Subiaco goalless in the first quarter of the preliminary final. It's Swan Districts by 17 points here at quarter time. Great start from the Black and Whites. We'll pause for some messages and be back with the second quarter action in the preliminary final from Leederville Oval.
It's great to be back in the West. I've obviously been over in Sydney for a couple of years, and to be home in the nice weather and even better in the blue and gold is fantastic. Yeah, I was an inaugural part of the Giants squad in the first year, so been over there for the last 3 years and I guess experienced what it's like to be part of a new team and building something from the ground. So we've got time now, we're in the competition, we can build towards something really special, and I think that comes off the back of the first couple of years and just creating somewhere that everyone wants to be and play some good footy.
Nature knows it's better to be part of a group than out on your own. To be surrounded by others whose sole purpose is to keep you safe and well. At Bupa, we call it Members First. A network of thousands of healthcare providers, all there for you. Search Bupa Members First.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
There's a high ball. Don't you diddle, don't you daddle, you better skedaddle. You need to run for your life. Well, like Virginia Creeper, well, didn't want to keep her just maybe for a while. You're lately in a hurdle.
Quarter time in the preliminary final. What a great start from Swan Districts coming into this game in tremendous form, breezing through the first semi-final last week. And with the only 3 goals of the first term, they lead it by 17 points at quarter time. 2 goals to Gemma Houghton, 1 to Michaela Hyde. And they look extremely dangerous all over the ground. David Lindsay alongside Alana Dickey. And Dickey, it's been a fantastic start from Swan Districts. What did you make of the first term?
I think Swans, they obviously, I sort of mentioned earlier on, they've got such a dynamic team, and obviously match one up and then someone else will pop up. So I think they're just moving the ball really well, using the footy by foot, obviously, but also trying to catch the play, catch Subi off guard with their transition. So they like to move it out in one way, out the other. So obviously I think what Subi need to do is try to close off their switch options so that they can get their defenders behind the ball a bit more, and that way Swans will have to start to think about different ways to move the footy around. So yeah, Swans their transition footy is really good, and I think Subi are going to have to just try to get it out in the middle and put the Swans defenders under a bit more pressure, and hopefully that'll give the forwards for Subi an opportunity to work their craft, which they haven't really had a lot of a chance to do yet.
Seeing some of the highlights here from the first quarter, most of them favouring Swan Districts. They've been brilliant from the start. And their youngsters have stood up really well. They've got Gemma Houghton, tremendous form up forward. This was that exciting charge she made down the broadcast side wing, which really should have resulted in a goal. Unfortunately, Ebony Antonio couldn't quite find Michaela Hyde, I think it was, on the end of the pass. But she's such an exciting footballer. And you mentioned during the call her improvement over the last year or two since she was brought into AFLW, really on the back of no football. And now she looks like a genuine prospect to probably tear the next AFLW season apart.
Yeah, it is very exciting from a WA point of view, just to watch her grow. And obviously, yeah, last season AFLW, she obviously continued to grow, but she just puts the work in, outside, obviously, club training, that sort of thing. You know, you see her running laps in that to maintain, obviously, her fitness standards so that she can obviously do what she does. You know, her obviously running game is a strength of hers, and she obviously works hard to maintain that.
So the Swan District huddle has broken up already. Subiaco still in a tight group, just in the shadow of one of the light towers. I'm not sure if it's that warm out there that they've desperately gone for shade. It's probably just more by accident than design that they've decided to bunch up in that spot. But some final messages from their player leaders as well, as they know that their season is on the line right now, because the start that Subiaco have had to endure here from Swan Districts, it's been electric from the Black and Whites, and now Subiaco do break up and head out into their positions. Got a couple of players out today. Ellie Blackmore and Bree Marnie were both named in the team on Thursday night, but we understand Ellie Blackmore was sick today, and not too sure what happened with Bree Marnie, but a couple of players that have played every game this year, Dickie, and they're missing today, so not ideal for Subiaco.
Yeah, I hope that because sometimes obviously when you've got players that are out that are normally in there from a team point of view, it can sort of play on your mentality. So I hope that's not Subi's case. But Pisco's had a great season this year, and obviously you've got young Mim Strom that's come from South Fremantle, and she's been doing really great for Swans over the second sort of half of the season. And I think the matchup between them two today is going to be again a good one. But Pisco, I think we need to see a bit more from Pisco to help Subi get the ball forward when she does that.
Linda Road gets the first touch of the quarter coming off the wing. Couldn't get a hand pass away though. Filicamo gets one back to fourth, but under pressure she coughs it up. Sharp with a high kick, wide open spaces inside 50. Antonio leading the race for the football. She propped for a moment, got rid of her opponent. Hand pass away to Hyde, about to be run down. Gets the kick away, not much distance on it. Houghton collects, she's well tackled by Golisano. That was good defensive work. Ball does come out. Collected again by Antonio, tries to hook it across the shoulder. She's done pretty well, it just fades away to the right. And that would have been a brilliant start for Swans in this second term. They stretched their lead out to an even 3 goals. It's a dangerous duo up there, Antonio and Houghton.
Yeah, from a defensive point of view, you just don't want to give them any room, and that's where I think that pressure from Golisano was really, really important, because you didn't want her to be able to quickly feed a handball out, because there was obviously a player running in towards goal as well.
Kick into the pocket. Was marked by Devlin. We haven't seen as much of her as Subiaco would have liked so far in this game. Miller's kick was blocked. She might have accidentally kicked the shin of Davison, who's pretty sore just away to the left of where this ball up is going to take place. hopefully she's okay, because she's had a wonderful season. And she's a great story, isn't she, coming out of community football and making a mark in WAFLW League this year.
Yeah, Sinead Davison, I actually have her as a work placement student through CEDAR, so every Tuesday she comes in and obviously when we play up against each other we see who's going to get bragging rights, and unfortunately she's had all 3 opportunities with bragging rights, but great kid, and I think she's got a bright future, just good attitude, and the way that she approaches not just footy but life in general. I think she's got a lot going for her, so hopefully this isn't too serious and she can get a bit of attention and then obviously head back out.
She came in to smother the kick of Miller, and I think in attempting to kick the ball, Miller might have missed the football and cracked her boot into the shin of Davison. So really hope that it's just a knock rather than a break or a fracture to that leg. She's trying to work away from the trainers at the moment, and she's going to try to jog off under her own steam. Hopefully it's okay for her. I hate to see her miss any football through an injury. It's been so exciting this year. Rosengrave takes it away for Subiaco into the middle of the ground. Osborne almost had it pinched away from her by Dowrick. She wins the football in the end anyway and kicks nicely. Tester marks 2 kicks from goal. Although she's going to square this one up. She wants Rode. Had to wait a while. In the end, the kick goes backwards to Harkin, who crashes into Rode. They've nearly messed it up here, Subi. Rode with the hurry kick forward. Sits up nicely to Osborne. Always likes to leave her opponent and break away. Kicks with the outside of the boot towards Cameron. Couldn't mark, but her tackle was brilliant. Great second effort there, wrapping up Caitlin Walker. And we'll see a ball up. Walker with some tape around her forehead and also just under her nose. Not sure, maybe she might have copped a broken nose in recent time, because she's come out on the ground in that fashion before the game today. Sharp's been paid the mark. Courtney Gard didn't think it travelled the required distance. Sharp's been good so far. Didn't make great contact with that one. The ball spun in an awkward way. Devlin had it knocked away from her by Antonio. She goes again, Devlin. In comes Matthews, tackled by 2 lines. Dragged to ground. Antonio holds it up for Swans. We'll see a ball up at centre half forward. Any changes around the ground that you've noticed from Subiaco at this stage, Dickie?
I think the matchups seem the same. I think Swans have kept things the same. We've still got obviously Dowrick up forward, which she's been dangerous for Subi throughout the season. I think the only difference is from previous lineups is they've got Devlin back, and I think that's mainly just to try to counter for Ebony Antonio. So, whether it's potentially looking at, do we put Devlin on ball for a bit just to give him a bit of movement forward, just to help out, or even throw things around a little bit just to try to get the footy forward. Subi, I think, just need to, once they've got ball in hand, be a bit more composed, because they've had a couple of opportunities that I think they've could have moved the footy lateral, and it was probably a bit slow when they need to do that.
Good tackle on that occasion by Devlin on Antonio. See a ball up. Of course, ex-teammates at Fremantle a little while ago. Devlin now has been signed by West Coast, so they'll get to meet during the AFLW season. How exciting will that be? An AFLW derby coming up in 2020. The Eagles and the Dockers. There might be a blood rule here. Kelly Gibson is the one who's been asked to head to the bench. Not sure where the blood's coming from. I can't see anything obvious through the binoculars, but the umpire certainly spotted something, so she'll be off and patched up pretty quick. It'll take a lot more than that. In fact, the game restarts before she's even made it to the bench, so I'm not too sure what was going on there.
Bit of advantage for Subi there.
Yeah, Forth gets the clearing kick. Dowrick against Osborne. Osborne gets there first. Nowhere to go down the line just yet, so she decides to try to put a move on. Dowrick wasn't falling for it, so the kick does go long towards the wing. Webb gets there first for Swans. Kick lands a little shorter than she would have hoped, and Claire Ortlup gets across to take the mark. Steers her kick inboard to Filacamo. Better ball movement this time from Subi. Miller wheeling around onto the right boot and loading up. Kicking for distance and kicking well. Tester on a long lead. Takes it about knee height. She too wants to get it on. Goes high and long inside 50. I think it's Rachel Ortlup there who has the footy. She's caught holding the ball.
What I liked there was Subi move the footy a bit better, but then also Tani Tester's been doing well to lead up.
Here's Miller breaking away, kicking to the top of the goal square. Kick didn't spin nicely off the boot that time either. Although Testa has got Antonio wrapped up. Forces the errant kick. Devlin, not much support for her. Plenty of black and white around, and they will clear. And they're only as far as Piscaneri, who marks, and she wants to go quickly as well. That looks as though it's the instruction here for Subiaco. Long to the hot spot. Ball gets through the pack. Osborne does nicely. Just knocks it to her own advantage, draws the player, pops a hand pass over the top, and they've got an absolute paddock now for Swan District. Sharp, long kick towards Houghton. Danger here for Subiaco. Player went to ground behind the play. Luckily, Claire Ortlip came in to support. And she's managed to hang on there and will get a ball up at the top of the 50 after Walker it was who fell over. And Houghton was on the charge again.
Yeah, they were lucky to cause a stoppage there. That was well done by the Ortlip twin, because I think that it was important that she held that up to get some support.
Twins on both sides, of course, today with the Ortlips and the Hydes out there. Hill with the kick for Swans. Down towards Hyde. Ball gets over the top. She likes this sort of situation. Ball won't sit up for her, though. Trickles away for a behind. Swans lead out to 19 points.
Swan's set up behind the footy is really good. They've been able to lock the footy in. I think that's one thing that Subi fell away from and made it easier for Swans to obviously get the footy back down into their forward 50.
Bowen knocking over Miller. Opens the door here for Swans through Ferguson. Wanted someone to present. The hand pass intercepted. Rachel Ortlip getting her body between Bowen and the footy. Ball goes back to the umpire. Kelly Gibson's coming back on the ground, so it didn't take her too long to sort out wherever the blood was coming from. Awkward bounce there for Pescott, who charged at it. Pescott will come back and try to apply a tackle on Rachel Ortlip. And kick intercepted. Maguire certainly sets up well behind the footy. Maguire reads it so nicely. Kicks in the middle of the ground. Filicamo gives a nudge on Webb. Fourth, had it knocked away from her. Sharp gets the kick away. Houghton in front. Can't take the mark. Great roving by Cameron. Hit the pack hard. Bursts into space. She's got an open goal ahead of her, but she's missed away to the right. And a behind only. They're so exciting, Swan Districts, when they get that ball in motion.
Yeah, they have crummers at the feet, and obviously they've got players that wrap around behind for the footy over the top. So they just seem to have players in the right positions at the right time, and it obviously makes it challenging for Subi defenders to counter.
I see Shanae Davison in screen at the moment in the pocket, so she's back on the ground, which is great news for her and for Swan Districts. Obviously that knock on the shin, probably just giving her a bit of a dead leg rather than any serious injury. Rode with the kick over the top to guard. Wants to play on. Wasn't aware that Bowen was going to run her down. A couple of new Eagles clashing there. Kane has the footy now. She's tackled and about to be escorted over the line. The umpire will call for a ball up first. .225s in the ruck. Hill and Piscaneri. The latter wins it to Filicamo. Feeds the hand pass back. Kick from Rode was affected by the tackle of Davison. As a result, it lands in the lap of Kane. She's done some good things through this quarter. That kick beats the pack. Walker leads back in the race, being pursued by Cameron. Needs to be clean. She is, although the hand pass goes astray. Houghton can't quite get to it. Walker's second effort was good. Subiaco looked to clear. The hurried kick, though, goes almost straight to Gibson. Needs to find the handle of the footy. She can't. Now she becomes a tackler, and her tackle lingered too long on the Subiaco player. And the free kick will go the way of fourth. A couple of players that have spent some time at Adelaide in the AFLW.
Yeah, it's good to see Fourth back in WA. I know that she's enjoyed being back.
So what's her situation at the moment? She's still got a contract with the Crows?
I think she's going back to Adelaide. I think she was saying that she's only going to be here for the end of the season, and then I think she was looking at going back over.
Right. I think she was an original Giant, wasn't she? One of the marquee players?
Yes. And a Geraldton local, so originally from Geraldton, so heads back there when she's got the time to go visit her family as well.
Kick from Gibson sets up Hyde, and now Swan's in good position, although Webb's gone to play on, tries to give a hand pass back to Brianna Hyde. Viney gets in the way. Claire Ortlip thought that Viney was going to go for the football. Viney was waiting for Ortlip to do the same. As a result, now Swans are able to force a stoppage.
Again, Swans set up behind the footy. They sort of cover off really well. So every time the the ball comes out, they've got someone there to sort of put it back in. So Subi forwards are going to have to roll up to also apply pressure. Otherwise, it's just going to keep rebounding.
Already into the second half of this second quarter. Haven't seen a goal in the term. Perhaps a chance here for Subiaco. Toth kicks into wide open space. It's a foot race. Peskard giving chase, but in front of her is Tester. Ball sits up for her. Peskard does well. Runs her down from behind. Affects the kick. It dribbles away towards the pocket. Toth with a second effort. Tackled again by Peskard. Great effort from the youngster. Osborne there to help out. Kicks across the face of goal. Sets Ferguson a bit of a task. Ball beats her. Viney has it. Tackled well by Ferguson. And the umpire will ping her holding the ball. What a brilliant effort there from Peskard.
Yeah, Swan's defence did really well there. You know, they sort of were caught with a bit of transition from Subi. Ball got over the top, which is what Tani Tester loves. But Peskard was, did a great job to wait till she actually picked the footy up, apply the tackle. But as you said, second effort to wrap the next one up as well.
I know she was wondering if she was going to be selected when the final started. Well, she's certainly rewarded or paid, or the selection of her has paid dividends. She's rewarded the coach for her faith. Done a brilliant job there, and throughout the game, Tester still goalless, standing one out in the goal square against the leading goal kicker. When you haven't yet turned 18, it's a daunting task. She's done well. This is another daunting task, trying to stop Gemma Houghton. She's got Golisano for company. Golisano did well, worried her off the football. Got the clearing kick. Davison hand passes away to Stannett. That was shut down very quickly by Filicamo. Guard is well tackled. Bowen collects the football. Ferguson squeezes a kick forward. In the way, Claire Ortlip. Oh, lost it between her legs. Matthews there for Swans. Ortlip jumps on top, applies the tackle. Umpire will say that's holding the ball. Matthews diving on it, didn't get rid of the football. And we'll see a ball up. Sorry, a free kick rather to Ortlip. He'll go short towards Miller. It's a goalless quarter so far. Swans have kicked 3 behind. Subiaco haven't scored. Got just over 5 minutes to go before half time. And Subiaco need to get their game into gear pretty quickly. Kick towards half forward. Davison couldn't take the mark, but recovery was excellent. Long kick over the top of Houghton. Ball bounces away from her. And because it's gone inside the 50-metre arc, we'll see a boundary throw in. Grand final next week, live on Channel 7 at Mineral Resources Park. The start time still to be determined. Will be decided later this weekend once the AFL announce when their finals will be on. The match will be on Channel 7 in the lead up to next Saturday's final. $5 entry. Kids go in free. Magnificent day. Let's hope the weather's just as good as it is today. Another ball up coming up. There'll be activities and games from 10 a.m. Kick to kick at all the breaks as well. Plenty of food and beverage available around the ground. Some giveaways, inflatables and other activities for the kids as well. So whether you're watching it on Channel 7 or you're down there at Mineral Resources Park in Lathlane, it'll be a fantastic day. East Fremantle will be there. Swans are looking good at the moment. Kane with the kick to the top of the goal square. Standing in the way and earning a free kick for her side is Cowie. Just taken high by Matthews. And she'll get the free kick on the last line of defence. Kicks across the face of goal. Dangerous kick towards Harkin, but Harkin does well to take the mark. Decides to play on quickly. Chips it well. Here go the Lions. A long kick down the line. Blocked by the shins of Strom. Strom will follow up. In fact, she leaves it for Antonio. Wants to take on a couple of lines. She's dragged to ground. Umpire says play on. Devlin with the clearance towards the wing. Slapped forward by Ralph. And a second time. Almost gets it to the attacking 50, although Filicamo cuts across. Takes possession, kicks into the middle of the ground. Viney does well. Gives off the hand pass. Subiaco away with some dash again. Miller with the long kick. Same situation here for Tester and Peskard. Tester gets there first. Peskard gives chase. Gets a hand on the jumper. Forces her to drop the footy. Gets it back. Snaps on goal, but it's well away to the left. And again, Peskard has done just enough to affect the kick and force a boundary throw in. And the youngster is standing up to the pressure exceptionally well here, Alana Dickey.
Yeah, she's doing a fantastic job, and to be able to react quickly to apply that pressure to Tani Tester, because she knows that she's coming, so it obviously makes the kick that she's, the kick a bit more hurried than what she's probably used to. So, yeah, she's doing a fantastic job.
Subiaco still with the opportunity with the ball inside their 50. Swans clear. Claire Ortlip tracks the ball. Sends it back inside the arc with a torpedo. Standing and waiting. Swans with the fist away. And the follow-up as well.
Subi have set up a bit better behind the footy now, locking in a bit better. So I think that'll make it harder for Swans to clear, but they've only got a couple minutes to hold out. So hopefully Subi can make something of this here.
Strong with the tap. Miller with the kick. It was partly smothered. Trickled its way through traffic. Ralph clears for the Black and Whites. Back into the middle of the ground. Awkward bounce. Davison charges in. Where's the tackle? Gets a pat on the back from Michaela Hyde. She was outnumbered. Just had to force a stoppage. And now players will come to support for the next ball up. Last couple of minutes of the quarter. Still goalless Subiaco. They'll go forward here. The tackle on Cameron was fierce. It was a bit of a sling tackle, but the umpire says holding the ball. Filicamo will get the free kick.
Filicamo's used the ball really well. She opened up that last passage of play just by switching the footy quickly. So what I like from Subi is when they move the ball quick, but 100%ers, they're just hitting up the short one. So hopefully they can find another target up here.
Piscaneri with the kick. Not a great position. She's placed it to a 2-on-6. Pescott in front of Tester again. Tester worries they're out of it this time. Kane comes in to help out and does very well. Another long clearing kick. Piscaneri attacks it in the air. Misses the mark though. Claire Ortlip to rebound once more. Gives a hand pass to her ruckman. Gives the hand pass away. Does Piscaneri off to Filicamo. Hurried kick. Antonio dropping back to help out in defence. The experience showing. She tells everyone it's time to slow it down. Let's wind some time off this clock. There's a minute to go until half time. The Swans have a very comfortable 20-point buffer against a Subiaco side that has yet to kick a goal. Big shove in the back on Davison. She'll get the free kick. Cameron wants to play into advantage. She's got no one between her and the goal. She could run this the length of the field. The second bounce doesn't come back to her, but she follows up again. Kicks into wide open spaces now. Matthews has pushed forward. It's a foot race between her and Cowie. The ball keeps bouncing. It's gone all the way.
That was fantastic for her to just take the game on there. She knew there wasn't long, so she just played on, took the advantage, and then a great kick out in front, and then obviously just dribbled through.
So that will be just about it for the quarter. The siren will go, I think, before the ball gets back to be restarted. But Cameron, what an exciting player she is. I don't think she was going for goal. I think she was just hoping to put it into space and maybe Matthews could win the race to the football. But it bounced on, it rolled on, and it went straight through the two big sticks. And what a fantastic way for Swan Districts to end this half of football. They lead it now by 26 points. The time has expired. We've gone past the 18-minute mark. And there is the siren to officially end another very good quarter from Swan Districts. They held Subiaco scoreless in that second term. And that goal you've just seen from Cameron, the only goal of the term, stretching their lead out to 26 points. A lot of work for Subiaco to do in the second half if they are to make it into next week's grand final. East Fremantle watching on today with quite some interest. And at this stage, all of their planning will be around what they will need to do to stop Swan Districts in next week's grand final. We'll be back to talk about the first half in just a moment. It's Swan Districts by 26.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Nature knows it's better to be part of a group than out on your own. To be surrounded by others whose sole purpose is to keep you safe and well. At Bupa, we call it Members First. A network of thousands of healthcare providers, all there for you. Search Bupa Members First.
There's a high ball. Don't you diddle, don't you daddle, you better skedaddle. You need to run for your life. Well, like Virginia Creeper, well, didn't want to keep her just maybe for a while. You're the lady in a hurdle. Well, I feel that day.
It's
It's great to be back in the West. I've obviously been over in Sydney for a couple of years, and to be home in the nice weather and even better in the blue and gold is fantastic. Yeah, I was an inaugural part of the Giants squad in the first year, so been over there for the last 3 years and I guess experienced what it's like to be part of a new team and building something from the ground. So we've got time now, we're in the competition, we can build towards something really special, and I think that comes off the back of the first couple of years and just creating somewhere that everyone wants to be and play some good footy.
It's half time in the preliminary final for 2019, and it's all Swan Districts 4-5-29 to 3 behinds. They lead by 26 points over the Lions at the long break. Some of the highlights here from the second quarter. Dave Lindsay and Alana Dickey, your commentary team. Emily Antonio has been very important for Swans up forward, Dickey, and she's had some friends. They've been fantastic all over the ground, really.
Yeah, Gemma Horton's been dangerous, and then obviously Michaela Hyde down there running a bit of a muck as well. So, yeah, they've just got a dynamic forward line, which means you can't really let one go because another one will pop up. So Amara Cameron, obviously dangerous towards the back end of that quarter, putting one out to advantage and then sort of dribbled through for a goal.
So what does Subiaco do now? They're down by over 4 goals. They only kicked 2 goals against East Fremantle, albeit in wet conditions last week, and they're goalless so far today. They've been the highest scoring team in the competition, but come finals time, they haven't been able to find any system up forward. Testers look dangerous at times, but Peskett's done a wonderful job just to inhibit her ability to find a bit of space and to kick that goal that will get the Lions started. Is there anything they can do in terms of their setup around the ground or some moves they can make out on the field?
Yeah, I think, putting Devlin on ball or getting her a bit more involved, because at the moment she's obviously playing back as a bit of a matchup, but I feel like her run and attack actually makes the opposition more accountable. So I know that, if I was a defender, I don't want B. Devlin in my forward line. But yeah, even putting her on ball and just helping move the footy forward for Subi, I think might be something they could look at doing. Yeah, I think they're going to have to make a couple changes just to get a bit of momentum into this third quarter, and then that way put a question mark for Swans where they can hold it out for the remainder of the game.
And it's interesting to look through the season. Subiaco have been so good in first halves. That's only the second time they've lost a second quarter all year. Swan Districts have been the best team after half-time this season. They've only lost 2 final quarters of the year. So the game is beautifully set up for Swans on the scoreboard, and knowing that they tend to run games out better than any other team.
Yeah, it's definitely going to take Subiaco challenging the stats, and Swan Districts obviously, I think they've been well trained in being resilient, but also maintaining that momentum throughout a game. So I think they've never I guess given up in a game, and that's why they always have those strong finishes. So it's gonna set us up for, I think, an exciting second half.
Some of the youngsters showing up in these highlights packages. Taylor Peskett down back on Tani Tester has been fantastic, and a couple of tackles that she made, which turned out really to be goal-saving tackles, as we start to look towards this second half. And also the awards season. This Monday night, the inaugural WAFLW Awards will be held at Optus Stadium. We caught up with WAFLW players to get their predictions for the major awards, as well as who will take up the first ever Optus WAFLW Premiership Cup next Saturday at Mineral Resources Park.
Subiaco, have to say Subi.
I'd like to say us, but if we're not there, I think East Freo will take it out.
I'd like to say us, but if not us, I'd say Swan Districts.
I think it's a pretty tough one because obviously a lot of the girls have time out with AFLW, but I think Evie Gooch has had a really good season.
It's a really interesting one with the AFLW players missing a lot of footy, but my pick is the ruck from Subiaco, Danica Piscaneri. I think for the best and fairest, I'm going to go for Amara Cameron, who plays for Swan District. She's had a fantastic year, played the majority of the games, and has a real X factor about her.
Tough one. I'm going to have my tabs on Danica Piscaneri.
I think Lyndall Road from Subiaco, she's come from a netball background, but she's really taken to the game pretty quickly.
I'm going to go to another Subi player again in Lyndall Road. I think she's built a really good body of work through the season. Again, I'll back in one of my Swannies teammates, Michaela Hyde. Great young kid, came a second or third in the leading goal kicker, so I will back her in to win that award.
And Stanton from Swan Districts.
So some of the predictions there from the star players around the clubs. We've got another star player up here in the box in Alana Dickey. We're going to ask you now to put your money down somewhere. What's your prediction for the Dara Kerr medal? Who's been the best player in the comp?
Yeah, look, I think Pisco's had a great season for Subi in the ruck. One thing that I've liked about her is her follow-up. After she rucks, she follows up and tends to get involved. She's quite smart in regards to knowing when to take it out of the ruck as well and put it on her boot. That's probably something we haven't seen much of today, is her actually just taking the game on herself and just getting a few clearances herself, because that's something that I've found throughout the season she's done well, and that's given Subi that ground or that extra advantage down the ground. So hopefully she can bring that into this second half of footy and help obviously lead Subi back into this game. So
this is where we're at the moment. Preliminary final day. The two teams following their path to preliminary final day. Subiaco going down to East Fremantle last week in the second semi-final, while Swans were too good for Alana Dickey's Tigers last week, and East Fremantle await the winner of this game in next week's grand final. And just on that again, the grand final will be live on Channel 7 next Saturday. The start time is still to be determined. It will be announced over the course of this weekend once the AFL decide when their finals will be played next Saturday, what time that game will be on. Rogers Cup, Reserves and League all in action on that day. It's a $5 entry fee. Kids will get in for free. There'll be activities and games from 10 a.m. As we said, the league bounced down sometime in the afternoon. Kick to kick, as it is right now out on the field. You can do that at any of the breaks. There's food and beverage available, giveaways, inflatables and other activities for the kids as well. So it'll be a fantastic day, both at the ground and also in your lounge room, watching Channel 7's coverage of the WAFLW Grand Final. And really, Alana, we encourage everyone to get out there, particularly if the weather's as good as it is today. Yeah, look, it's a great venue, obviously Mineral Resources Park, but then to actually have it on TV live on Channel 7 is, it's very exciting. Obviously, the growth of female football has been, really big over the last few years with the AFLW coming on board. So I think the more that we get viewers down at the game, obviously streaming in, watching in on Channel 7, the more likely we're going to get these opportunities in the future, because it just shows that there's a hunger and a need for the spectators to be able to watch it. So, pay your $5 entry, get down there, but if you can't get there, chuck the TV on, because it will be a ripper of a match. It'll be East Fremantle against one of these two teams, and it certainly looks like it'll be Swan Districts as the second team in the grand final. They lead by 26 points at half-time. Time for us to take a break, and on the other side, let's see whether the Lions can get back into it and perhaps sneak in front and take a spot in that grand final.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Nature knows it's better to be part of a group than out on your own. To be surrounded by others whose sole purpose is to keep you safe and well. At Bupa, we call it Members First. A network of thousands of healthcare providers, all there for you. Search Bupa Members First.
It's a high ball. Don't you diddle, don't you daddle, you better skedaddle. You need to run for your life. Well, like Virginia Creeper, well, didn't want to keep her, just maybe for a while. You're the lady in a hurdling. Well, I feel that day.
It's great to be back in the West. I've obviously been over in Sydney for a couple of years, and to be home in the nice weather and even better in the blue and gold is fantastic. Yeah, I was an inaugural part of the Giants squad in the first year, so been over there for the last 3 years and I guess experienced what it's like to be part of a new team and building something from the ground. So we've got time now, we're in the competition, we can build towards something really special, and I think that comes off the back of the first couple of years and just creating somewhere that everyone wants to be and play some good footy.
Back here at Leederville Oval with some more highlights from that first half of football. Gemma Houghton's been a star with a couple of goals. Michaela Hyde's kicked one. And Cameron kicking an unbelievable goal just before half-time, which gives Swan Districts a lead of 26 points at the long break. The two sides just about to make their way back out onto Leaderville Oval. Dave Lindsay and Alana Dickey, your commentary team this afternoon. As we look around the crowd out here as well, I can see Luke Sanders is back in his Waffle retro cap, and we gave Luke and also Scott Baker a bit of a rev up last week asking where our caps were, and Steve Toohey, the media manager, delivered. He's come up with a cap for you as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's like Christmas up here.
Going to get one of those caps. A few other Footy Commission staff up here in the grandstand as well. Kerry's just tucking into a packet of salt and vinegar chips as well. I think I had one or two beverages last night, so perhaps a bit of recovery food for Kerry there. As the two teams do make their way out onto the field right now, Swans and Subiaco. East Fremantle waiting on already in the grand final. We saw them in the reserves action earlier today. Unfortunately, couldn't get over the line against your Tigers. So Claremont will be there on grand final day in the reserves.
Yeah, obviously one thing that we've found at Claremont is our depth through our two teams. So it's been good. We've had a number of girls from the reserves that have been able to have opportunities to play league footy. An example of that was Jess Lowe, came from the amateurs, played reserves first half of the season, and then sort of finished playing all league games towards the back end of the season. So yeah, we've got girls like that have really grown throughout the season and made selections quite difficult. But yeah, it just shows the depth between our resis. So great to see reward for effort for them. And obviously it'll be a great game next week against South Fremantle.
So Swan Districts there on screen, just gathering in a huddle before the start of the third quarter as well. In the grandstand, we've seen the Fremantle and West Coast coaching staff, recruiting staff watching some of their players that they've signed up, and also looking at prospective players for the draft, which comes up next month, late in October. Quite exciting looking at that as well, Dickie, now that with two clubs able to select from the WA pool, of course players decide which state they want to go and play their AFLW in. It now puts some pressure on the two teams to make their selections in the correct order as well, because now that there's a bit of competition, you can't leave someone just sitting there, because in the past you could name your selections in any order really. It didn't matter, no one else was going to pinch those players. But now, if you don't take Alana Dickey with pick one, she might be gone by the time your next pick comes.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very exciting to watch how it plays out. And yeah, I think the clubs have been working and planning for this moment over the last, probably 12 months, to be honest. So I think they're going to be well prepared. But yeah, they're going to have plan A, plan B, plan C, just in case certain players go before they get to them. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch how that plays out.
And you'd have to say there's probably a couple of players in the black and white out there that are every chance of having their name read out. Mim Strong, one of those.
Yeah, she's been great as well. I didn't really know a lot about her until obviously coming up against her in previous matches and obviously seeing some of the form throughout the under-18. So yeah, she's another young up-and-coming player, and she's been obviously doing really well with, throughout the season in the ruck, and yeah, obviously putting a big challenge to Pisco today as well.
She's ready to go, leaping around that centre circle, and now leaping at the footy and winning the first tap of this second half. Bowen just brushed aside that time. Here's Miller. Bowen goes at her for a second opportunity. Keeps and overruns the football. Filacamo. She doesn't overrun it too often. Gets down low, collects, and then kicks along towards half forward. Ritchie tries to give a nudge on the young O'Driscoll, but O'Driscoll fights back well. Sharp comes across to support. Little toe poke into space and then paddles towards the boundary. Wants to keep it in. Shrugs the tackle and does exceptionally well. Now off to O'Driscoll. Spun in the tackle. Gets the hand pass away. Ralph is there to assist as well, but Ritchie wins out. Long with the left. Tester in front. Pesca does enough to spoil once more. Here's now Osborne. She's caught. Spun in the tackle and held up. The umpire will ball it up. 25 metres out from the goal that Subiaco are attacking.
This is better for Subi, and again, they've sort of started to set up a bit quicker around the back of the footy. So if Swans look to surge quickly, they're not going to have a lot up front.
Driscoll dangerously across the face of goal. The kick was touched in flight. Tester crashes in. Ferguson wins. Her hand pass was blocked. Pescott goes at it again. Here's Rosengrave, beaten to the football by O'Driscoll, tackled by Dowrick, and dragged to ground. We'll see another ball up. So Subiaco haven't scored since late in the first term. They haven't kicked a goal this game. Only been held scoreless in a quarter 3 times this year before today. They were scoreless in that second term. Jaya Surya dragged off her kick, but it did get towards Dowrick. Hand pass inboard. Ralph's kick goes nowhere. Ferguson held up in the tackle by Jayasuria. And the umpire will be called upon to separate them once more. So Subiaco working very hard to lock this ball inside their attacking 50. Repeat stoppages. Now they just need to engineer a shot on goal. Diving in on the football, Bowen. Could have almost got a free kick there for some contact into her back or even high contact. Hand pass comes from Miller in the direction of Filicamo. Can't collect it cleanly. Gives it back now to Miller, who straightens up, fires on goal, and that's what Subi needed. The first goal of the third quarter, kicked by Hayley Miller.
That was great by Subi. Again, I think their setup behind the play helped because Swans looked up and then they had to hurry a kick and they went across goals and then that caused another stoppage. So I think if Subi can be smart and set up early behind the footy, it'll play hard on the defenders to look for those quick switches out the back line. So well done for Subi, being able to finally get some score on the board, and that'll obviously add to the pressure of the game.
Probably been Subiaco's best player, would you say, today, Hayley Miller? She's been doing her best to keep them in the contest, providing plenty of run.
Yeah, her attack on the footy is always great, and obviously a bit of speed and pressure for the opposition. I think she's definitely played her part today.
So can they kick back-to-back goals and get themselves right back into the contest? Gibson tried to charge through the centre circle, didn't take the footy with her. Bowen is wrapped up. And the umpire will separate them again. So a bright start to the third term from the Lions. League leaders throughout the season, finished with the minor premiership. They don't want to go out in straight sets. Guard with the kick, gets it inside 50. Under pressure, O'Driscoll, forced to kick across the face of goal again. Osborne has to stand and wait under the high ball and does it nicely. Takes a good mark. Rosengrave was closing quick, but Osborne maintained a composure. And now the chip pass will find Bowen. Bowen has Ferguson short, decides not to go in that direction. Instead, will go longer down the line. In fact, no, she takes on Jayasuria on the mark, beats her easily, kicks towards Antonio. Devlin still with that matchup, wins it this time. Strom couldn't take the ball cleanly. Rosengrave thrown to ground. Trying to barge her way through was Ralph. Kick goes forward from Bowen. And now Subiaco to reload again. Fourth. Trapped the footy in the air. Couldn't collect it at ground level. Osborne finds a way through the traffic. Kicks into space. Rode from one direction, Davison from the other. Davison gets there first and hand passes back to Osborne. Stops and then surveys all the options. Kicks to the advantage of Houghton, who marks, and she is away. They won't stop her from here. She has a bounce, steadies at 50, decides to pull the trigger and kick long in the Cameron direction. And Cameron has the mark, well and truly within range. She kicked the last goal of the first half, and she can kick Swan's first goal of this second half.
That was a great kick to advantage by Skinny, just to, or should I say Lauren Osborne, Skinners, to obviously put it out in front. Made it easy to obviously mark for Gemma Horton, and then Gemma Horton doing the same thing for Amara Cameron. Just weighted the footy beautifully, making it extremely hard for the defenders. 2 for Cameron, 2 for Houghton, 1 for Hyde, and Swans have that reply to the early Subiaco goal in this third quarter. The margin back out to 26 points. They play some very exciting football when they get their game running, Swans, and unfortunately for Subiaco, the Lions haven't found a way to stop that sort of flow of ball movement. Yeah, it's that quick transition. Swans catch you on the if you're obviously not paying attention. So really got to stop them being able to switch the footy out from their back line and slow them down. So again, really good by Skinners just to look outside, weigh the kick nicely, and obviously, yeah, Gemma Horton to take the game on again. So back in the middle, Piscaneri in the ruck, applies the tackle, ball spills out the back. The hurried kick was blocked off the boot there of fourth. And as we've seen throughout this third quarter, repeat stoppage in the middle. The umpire just about getting in the way there of Hill in the ruck. Piscaneri, good use of the body, wins the footy, gets a hand pass back towards fourth, socket away from her by Gibson, and the umpire, in fact it wasn't socket away, it was a throw from fourth. Saw Gibson go with a little toe poke, but she didn't actually get to it. It was thrown from the deck by fourth, and Gibson gets a free kick. Yeah, they almost got away with it, but the other umpire was managed to see it. So Kelly Gibson, haven't seen a lot of her so far today. That kick tumbles off her boot towards half forward. Kane has been good. Paddles the ball back away from goal, back towards the wing, crashes into Jayasuria. Rosengrave goes off the ground towards half forward.
Lewis gives a hand pass away. Now Rachel Ortlip, she's caught, dumped in a heavy tackle. O'Driscoll with the kick towards half forward. Subiaco fisting it forward. It was Claire Ortlip. Cameron missed with the boot that time. Goes with the second attempt. Needs to give it off. Kicks it well. And Kane was all alone on the wing. Measures her pass towards half forward. Unable to mark in front was Davison, waiting down at the back. Hyde. This is Michaela Hyde, who kicks for distance, gets it into the forward pocket, and the ball will be thrown in. The last possession rule only in play between the 50-metre arcs. When it's inside 50, we'll see a boundary throw in.
Again, smart by Swans, came lateral just to open the space up for their forwards to move into. So gave Hyde, the opportunity to put the footy on her boot and obviously sprayed outside. But now they get a stoppage.
They're thrown in again. Oh, Piscaneri, that's what you spoke about at half-time. Taking clean possession out of the ruck. Long towards Lewis. She can't do anything with it this time. Jaya Surya with the kick. Into space on the wing. Attacking it hard, Dowrick. Knocked it to a teammate. The hand pass from Rachel Ortlip out towards Rosengrave. Bumped off her kick. Brianna Hyde leading the race. A fumble onto her boot. And it's gone out of play, which means it'll be a free kick.
Yeah, a bit unlucky there. So Subi hopefully can make the most of this.
So accidental soccer kick, really. The fumble proving very costly. And Dowrick with the free kick. Long with the left boot. Sends it deep inside 50. Webb couldn't take possession. Lewis is there. Close to the line. Kept in by Forth. The hurried kick forward. Reading it best is Sharp, who just dropped back into the pocket and takes the mark. Pretty congested down the line, but there's not a lot of movement, so I think she's going to have to go to a pack of players. In front is Harkin. Davison makes a good spoil from behind. Guard does well at the front. Hand pass to Dowrick. Inside with her hand pass. A chance for Devlin to set something up. Kicks long. Can't find a target though. Sharp leading back in the race. Boundary is close. She keeps it in. Kicks it high and long. Asks a lot of Matthews here, who gives chase. She's first to arrive. The ball sits up nicely for her, so she comes back with a hand pass. Clean bowls her teammate though. Subiaco might still have an opportunity. Ritchie's knocked off the football. Good work from Stannett. She's given it off by hand to Gibson. Long and high towards the wing. Houghton again. Her recovery after the first effort is always so good. Kicks hoping for Antonio. Kick favours Claire Ortlip. Antonio pressuring her from behind. Ortlip fumbles. Support arrives. Swans get there first though. Hand pass comes out towards Hyde. That came from Davison. Hyde with the left boot towards the top of the goal square. Bit of push and shove. Golisano favoured by this kick. Throws on the boot. Untidy looking ball. Might work out okay for Viney. And she gathers it half back. Gives it off to Forth. Forth tells Viney to keep running, or Shepherd, do one or the other. Forth, and then eventually turns around and kicks long for distance. Lewis goes to ground. O'Driscoll couldn't find the football. Gives Lewis a second chance. O'Driscoll comes back hard at her. And she's a feisty competitor. Forces the ball up.
Yeah, she's a big in for Swans. I know she had a little bit of time off with an injury, so seeing her come back in obviously adds to their depth of their team.
Exciting family with brother Nathan in the State 18s for the boys as well. I think he's been selected in that talent game that gets to play on AFL Grand Final Day, which is a fantastic opportunity for him. He might be watching his sister play in a WAFLW Grand Final next week, the way things are shaping up here. Although Piscaneri's got some other ideas. She's up and about in this third quarter. Kicks long towards full forward. Toth couldn't take it. Ralph does for Swans. Chip pass favours Kane. The ball bounces awkwardly for her. She's got time though. And then kicks towards the wing. Getting across Strom, did very well. Controlled the football. And now they can really set something up here, Swan Districts. Antonio with the sweatbands on the wrist. Kicks towards half forward. Getting back first is Cowie. Chased by Houghton. Gives her a shove after getting the kick away. The umpire said that was all okay, and the kick has gone out of play on the bounce, so Antonio will get the free kick.
Subiaco backline have done really well the last two times. The Swans have had a quick transition. They've been able to slow it down and obviously give time for their midfield to get back. I'd like to see the Subi mid be a bit quicker on the transition, not let them get it down there as quickly.
Big contest there. Claire Ortlip got hands to the footy, couldn't take the mark. Houghton crashed through, really split the pack open. Another ball up. Just over 6 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Subiaco can ill afford to concede another goal right now. Piscaneri, nice ruck work down to Filicamo. Clearing kick goes to the wing. Kane in front, might let this one roll out. She does. We'll see a free kick going the way of Swan Districts. So there's only been one game this season where a team has come from behind at three-quarter time. That was Swan Districts beating East Fremantle earlier in the season. And at the moment, Subiaco have got to bridge a 26-point gap. So you'd have to think they've got to do some damage late in this third quarter to keep their chances alive. Guard has it on half-back now. Goes long to the wing position. From behind, Ralph crashes into her opponent, doesn't touch the football. No free kick. Osborne collects at the back and hand passes to Strom. Awkward looking kick. Filicamo in best position. Juggles and takes it. Good mark.
Got B. Devlin streaming down here. If they have a look, they might be able to put it. Here we go.
Yep. Got the play. The run from behind from Devlin. Markson plays on. Need a target here at half forward. Ball clears Ritchie. Osborne, as she so often does, just mopping up across half back. Good hand pass. Gives Stannard opportunity. Little fumble. Time to recover though. Kicks towards Matthews on a lead. Again, Filicamo comes across. It's courageous play from the on-baller and does well. Spots up Viney. If Miller hasn't been Subiaco's best, then I think Filicamo probably has.
Yeah, she's used the ball really well. Chipping passes to her teammates, and that sort of makes it obviously hard for Swans. If Subi have ball in hand, I'd like to see them start to do that a bit more, because that's generally when they play their best footy.
It's a real wall across half-back, isn't it? Maguire and Bowen combining beautifully, and then Houghton stands up strong. Outmarks Walker. She's probably been the most valuable player on the ground. Houghton, that's a beautiful kick to Strom, who's given the lead. 50 out. Wonderful pass from the ruck. And Davison on the lead has taken the mark. And that was right out of the playbook. I reckon the coach that we can see just away to our right in the Swans box, Cara Donnellan, would have been very pleased with that. Houghton with the mark, centering ball to the big ruck coming through, who then delivered to the chest of Davison. Can she finish it off? Looks pretty good. It's another one for Swans, and their lead is out to be on 5 goals.
Yeah, it was good ball movement by Swans. Again, moving the ball laterally, opening up the space to then be able to put it to advantage of their teammates. You also had players like Ebony Antonio leading out to create even more space and then wrapping around just in case it didn't come off cleanly. So well done by Swans. Another good passage of play for them.
Well, we know East Fremantle are in the grand final, and normally you're feeling pretty confident if you take the direct route through to the grand final, but I reckon their coaching staff that would be here somewhere today keeping a close watch on these two teams, they're going to have some worries during the week. How do they close this Swan Districts team down? They've got a wall across half-back that seems so hard to break through. They've got dynamic forwards who, as you mentioned, Dickie, seem to combine so well. They're unselfish. They give leads just to clear space for others. They don't really mind who kicks the goals.
Yeah, one thing that East Freo backline do really well is they make you earn the space to move back into, so you never get to run back in freely.
We'll see that next week, I would say. It's hard to see how Subiaco can get back into this one and take a massive final quarter. And they've still got just under 3 minutes to create something in this term. Lewis has it, but she's tackled and thrown to ground. And they'll have a ball up centre half forward for the Lions. Been a great season for Subi. Finished on top of the table. Clearly the best team through the home and away season, but the finals haven't been kind to them so far in one game and 3 quarters. Road gets the kick inside 50. Lewis doing some pushing and shoving. Couldn't take the mark. Derrick does well. Spins onto that left boot. Makes good contact with the footy, but again, she's missed. She's had a couple of opportunities in that sort of fashion, just breaking onto her left side, but unable to finish. And another behind for Subi.
Hopefully Subi can lock this in now and have another opportunity to get another goal on the board. It looks like they've set up pretty well behind the footy again. They just need to move with the ball as it comes out.
So Maguire to do the kicking in. Normally goes long. Does again this time. It sits up in the breeze. Lewis, she's paid that one. Player on the mark, a step inside the 50. Sarah Lewis.
I think that's only the second mark inside 50 for Subi. There we go.
There's another one. It's been taken deep forward by Testa. Hasn't been her day. Hasn't been her final series. The leading goal kicker in the competition. But this should be her first. will give Subiaco a glimmer of hope. 26 goals in the season, a best of 6 against Peel Thunder. Goal number 1 for today for her. She celebrates and tries to rev up her team. They need to find something right now. They've got just over a minute, so by the time the ball gets bowled up, it'll probably be more like 30 seconds in this quarter to see if they can find another one and start what would be a remarkable comeback.
Yeah, I think that'll be good for their confidence, at least going into the fourth, getting another goal on the board. And obviously for Tani Testa, not being able to kick a goal against Swans previously, so good for her to quickly snag one.
So the clock continues to run, as it does in these games. No time on. Just the flat 18 minutes. Must be a little bit frustrating sometimes as a player, Dickie, when you're looking at the clock and it's ticking and the man holds the footy and he checks that the players are all in position.
Yeah, when you're up, it's okay, but when you're chasing, yeah, definitely want the ball back as quick as you can.
Especially at these grounds where you can actually see the clock ticking away on the scoreboard. About 15 seconds to go. Subi do get the clearance. Sharp will do everything she can to prevent another score, although the Lions through Rachel Ortlip gain another 15 metres. Wide out. Tester can't collect the footy. Gibson gets in the way again. Rachel Ortlip tries to create something. Siren beats them all. Very short siren. Very crisp and precise. Not the sirens we're used to at the end of a term, but it's enough anyway for Swans. Another good quarter for them. They at least shared the term. They kicked 2 goals. Subiaco kicked 2 goals. And at 3-quarter time, they have a very comfortable buffer. 25 points is their lead. They appear to be 1 quarter away from a grand final against East Fremantle next week. And after this break, we'll come back and see whether Subiaco can find something and fight back. It's Swans by 25 points at 3-quarter time.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Nature knows it's better to be part of a group than out on your own. To be surrounded by others whose sole purpose is to keep you safe and well. At Bupa, we call it Members First. A network of thousands of healthcare providers, all there for you. Search Bupa Members First.
It's a high ball. Don't you diddle, don't you daddle, you better skedaddle. You need to run for your life. Well, like Virginia Creeper, well, didn't want to keep her just maybe for a while. You're lately in a hurdle. Well, I feel that day.
It's great to be back in the West. I've obviously been over in Sydney for a couple of years, and to be home in the nice weather and even better in the blue and gold, it's fantastic. Yeah, I was an inaugural part of the Giants squad in the first year, so been over there for the last 3 years and I guess experienced what it's like to be part of a new team and building something from the ground. So we've got time now, we're in the competition, we can build towards something really special, and I think that comes off the back of the first couple of years and just creating somewhere that everyone wants to be and play some good footy.
Highlights here from the third quarter, which saw Subiaco kick 2 goals, 1, and Swan Districts kick 2 straight goals. So Swans, who led by 26 points at halftime, would be very pleased with that term. They've maintained their lead, only cost them a point in that quarter, and their lead is now 25 points. Dave Lindsay and Alana Dickey, your commentary team for this afternoon. And despite Subi's best efforts, Dickey, they weren't really able to bridge the gap too much. They've got a massive task ahead of them with a quarter to go.
Yeah, I think what I'd like to see Subi do is play a bit more of their style of game. So what they're really good at is chipping the ball around and maintaining possession. So I think once they've got ball in hand, just to slow it down, look for that 100%er, move the footy down, and obviously not really give Swans the opportunity to attack. So yeah, hopefully Subi can get the ball in their hands and then just play their style by chipping the ball around. But Swans have done extremely well to obviously attack and catch Subi out on the transition. So we'll see how Subi go this quarter. Pisco did start to take the ball out of the ruck a little bit more, which I think if she can do a couple more times just to move the footy forward and obviously continue that follow up. But obviously Mim Strom's been doing a fantastic job from a Swans point of view, competing up against Pisco, obviously who has recently been signed by West Coast. So for Mim Strom, a young under 18 to be competing against someone that's just been listed as an AFLW player, I think it's credit to her for the way that she's competing. For Subi's point of view, I hope that Pisco can start to get first hand on the footy for her teammates.
Certainly needs to get things going nice and quick at the start of this last quarter. They trail by 25 points. I mentioned earlier that there hasn't been too many comebacks. There's only been one, in fact, this entire season in the WAFLW, where a team has come from behind at three-quarter time. Swans defeated Eastman on that occasion. Subiaco have only trailed 4 times at three-quarter time and have lost on each of those occasions, and this is a big task now. Going to need to kick at least 5 goals in this last quarter to win. They've only kicked 2 in the opening 3 quarters of the match. But we did see some better signs from them. They found some avenues to goal. They've broken up from their huddle very quickly this time. They'll be in position, almost ready and waiting for Swan Districts, as you can see the Swans huddle's just broken up now as well. The black and white's heading back out onto Leederville Oval. A fantastic day for football. So much better than this time last week when we saw rain teeming in, almost sideways at times. It would have been a bit tough out there at Bassendean Oval for you. Now it's still blue.
I changed my socks at half time and I think my boots are still wet from the weekend. So Swanee's girls probably had the hairdryers out on them or newspaper inside them. But it was definitely a wet day.
Hopeful of similar weather this time next week for the grand final at Mineral Resources Park. You'll see the Rogers Cup and the reserves before the league. $5 will get you in. Kids are free. Plenty happening from 10 a.m. Kick to kick at all the breaks. Also live on Channel 7 if you can't get to Mineral Resources Park. We're underway in the final quarter. Strom in the ruck. A couple of taps earning some ground for Swan Districts. Cameron ripped off the football. Filicamo's down behind, play a bit sore after a tackle. Claire Ortlip's hand pass went straight from down on the spot. Sharp crushes through. Takes off. Good speed. Long kick towards the top of the goal square. In fact, it'll keep rolling. It'll keep bouncing. It's a goal. That's twice Swans have kicked goals from pretty much 50 metres out with the ball rolling and bouncing, and it may as well be a black and white footy.
Yeah. They've done that really well all day. The kick to advantage of their teammates, but obviously if there's an open goal square and no one's there to or doesn't need to run onto it, it's great that Swans can just score a goal as it dribbles through. Most
of the Swan District's coaching staff hadn't made it back to the box away to our right. You could hear the cheer, and that was them walking up the stairs. So they were pretty thrilled with that. I'm sure the message at three-quarter time would have been, let's get the first goal. Let's get the first goal. That's going to really put a dent in Subiaco's hopes. And now that lead is 31 points. You kind of know it's your day when you're kicking goals like Cameron and Sharp have today. The goal that Cameron kicked in the second quarter, almost identical to Sharp's, except probably travelled an extra 20 metres.
Again, that's where you look at Swans, their depth. It's not just their forwards kicking goals, it's their midfielders, even, Sharpie on the wing. So, they've just got such a dynamic team. They're not relying on one or two players to hold the fort, and I think, that's worked really well for them coming into the final series. And obviously today it's playing its part as well.
The best team in the comp in final quarters. They've won 10, drawn 1 and lost 2 over the course of the whole season. They have the first goal in this term as well. Lewis will send Subiaco towards their attacking 50. Ball bounces and sits up ahead of Darrick. She's tackled by Maguire. Did very well, Maguire. And that move from attack into defence from Swans of Emily Maguire midway through this quarter, it might actually result in them winning a premiership. She's really added some steel to that defence. Osborne next to her there.
Yeah, those two have worked together really well all season. But Maguire, she just uses the footy really well as well. So knows when to go long, and then obviously knows when to hit up a short option just to slow things down.
So Webb to Davison, 1 out against Filicamo. Unable to take the mark. Filicamo fighting on. Knocks it back towards Miller, who wants to charge through, but she's caught. Claire Ortlip now. Her kick smothered by a diving Davison. And now Hyde comes in on top to apply more pressure. And Filicamo's down again, just off to the right of screen at the moment. Sucking in some deep breaths. So flat 18-minute quarters, which means there's 15 minutes to go today for Subiaco to find probably 6 goals to win it. If not 5 and a couple of behinds. Very hard to see how that's going to happen. Maguire, little chip pass again towards Osborne. He's got Webb in some space on the wing. The kick goes towards her. Awkward bounce. Favoured Road. She knocks it back to support from Filicamo. Kicks inboard. It floats, but it hits the target. Fourth has it. Wants to move it on quick. Tumbles a kick. Diving effort. Almost taking the mark was Dowrick. Now she's got problems. Kane's wrapped her up quickly. And the umpire spares her. He'll call for a ball up.
Yeah, a bit better by Subi, looking to move the ball laterally, change the lanes. And Pisco again taking out the ruck.
Unfortunately for her, though, the kick goes straight to Osborne. I think I've seen Swans probably 5 or 6 occasions this year, and she has never played a bad game. Osborne, the kick towards centre half forward. Bounces past Claire Ortlook and Michaela Hyde. A couple of the twins out there. Of course, they're not twin sisters themselves. Not with each other anyway. Another ball up on attacking 50 as Gibson gets herself to her feet. See what Strom can do this time to prevent Piscaneri taking clean possession. She decides to tap anyway. Stannard. Ball sits up nicely for her to collect. The ex-Perth Glory star. Kicks towards the forward pocket. Davison gives chase, but the boundary will win. And we'll see a throw in. Deep in attack now for Subiaco. Kick the only goal of this last quarter. A brilliant running effort from Sharp. And Subiaco are facing the prospect of a straight sets exit. Finished 2 games clear on top of the ladder. Beaten by East Fremantle last week in the wet. And Swans are doing a number on them today in the dry. Short throw in. Houghton attacks it. Davison wins. Gives it back to Houghton, who goes with the outside of the boot, but she's pushed it well right. Got far too much spin on that one, and it's out on the full.
Swans have set up really well behind the footy again, so it's going to be difficult for Subi to work it out. Hopefully they can find a couple chip passes to move it up the ground.
So Devlin to bring it back into play. Not a great kick. Juggled attempt, not paid. Oh, solid bump from Miller on Houghton. A couple of Freo teammates clashing there. Stannett gets the kick away. It bounces goalward, and it sneaks in for a behind. Coaching staff and the officials from the AFL clubs just must hold their breath every now and again when they see a couple of their star players coming together.
Well, last time these two met, I think Bowen and Dowrick had a heavy collision, and Bowen didn't play part of the remainder of the game, so it's good to see. She's obviously back out there today, but yeah, they're definitely obviously checking in on both the players.
So Swans reloading again. Big leap from Antonio. Clears her. Ball bounces back towards goal. Miller close to the line. In fact, Harkin this time it is. Happy enough to see that over for a throw-in. And time continues to tick. It certainly is the enemy right now of Subiaco. Got 12 minutes left in their season unless they can produce a remarkable fight back. Boundary umpire comes in the 10 metres. Another shortish throw-in. A little crooked as well, perhaps. Houghton tries to take that one out of the ruck. Thought about knocking it to Stannett. Instead, she collects it herself. Hand passes to the running Strom. Strom long towards the goal square. Antonio leaping. Can't take it. Ortlook keeps it in for Subiaco. Hurried kick works out well. Guard was alert to it and took the mark. The umpire's called play on here. Swans players took a little while to react. Eventually, charging at her, it forced a bit of an errant kick. Osborne pops a hand pass inside to Stannett. Right on the edge of her distance. She kicks long. Houghton getting back. Can't quite get there, and it's another behind. And more time off the clock. Swans out to a 33-point lead.
There's been a couple of times Subi have had players that they probably just could have quickly hit up, but I think they've hesitated, and then it's obviously then not open, and then they've had to go long, and obviously when they go long, Swans are just there to cover off.
Jayasuria with the clearance this time for Subiaco, but again Osborne reads it so well. Has the mark. Has Ferguson leading into the middle. So too Bowen. Kick didn't hit either of them. Lewis against Bowen at ground level, and a ball up again. So East Fremantle in the grand final. Looks as though it'll be the Sharks and Swans next week at Mineral Resources Park. Hyde sends them inside 50 again, and Gibson onto that Brianna Hyde kick very quickly. And Kelly Gibson has this kick to finish things off for Swan Districts. It'll take a long kick, probably 40 to 45 metres, but she is one of the longer kicks in the game.
I'd back her in from here. I reckon she's got a good technique on her. If she follows through, she should get the distance.
She's made good contact, sent it quite high and away to the left and through for another behind. So they're peppering the goals. They've kicked 1 goal, 3 in the term, but they've held Subiaco scoreless again. It's just looking down the boundary. Emma O'Driscoll's got a lot of tape around her left shoulder. She's just sat down again. Hopefully that's not an injury to her, but it doesn't look great. I'm not sure if she had a big ice pack on it as well, so let's hope for her sake that she hasn't done herself an injury that could see her miss out on a grand final next week. Steph Kane's walking over towards her at the moment and patting her on the back, so might be some concern for O'Driscoll. Cara Donnellan, the coach, has seen enough from the box as well. She's going to coach out the rest of the game from the Swan District's bench. As the ball's thrown in, inside 50 for Subiaco, for Swan Districts rather. Fourth, knocks it away. Filicamo collects, tries a fend off, hurried kick. Hill gets in the way. Hand pass comes back to Maguire. Tries to sell some candy. She's caught by the second tackler. Not rewarded though. Another ball up.
She was lucky there. I don't think she realised there was another one coming from the other side. I thought with footy 360 game, got to be aware of what's around you.
Filicamo roving that tap. Ferguson snatches the mark away from Viney. Quick kick into the centre corridor. Great lead and mark. Houghton's done it again. She's an exciting player to come and watch.
Yeah, what I loved as well is Kelly Gibson was leading into that space as well and was aware then that Gemma Horton was going there and pulled out and allowed Gemma Horton to take the mark. So just smart awareness of where her teammates are, and obviously Gemma for sticking it and hopefully can kick this one.
She's kicked 2 goals in the first quarter. Kicked 3 against Subiaco earlier in the season. That is a super kick. She's put it over the fence. She's got 3 goals against the Lions for the second time this year. And she's now kicked 15 goals in the season. I think it's from only about 7 games. But Swans, they're going to give themselves every chance next week, Dickie, to really shake East Fremantle. And the Sharks will know that they've got a real contest on their hands in the grand final.
Yeah, Gemma Horton's kicking has improved dramatically as well. We talked about her improvement throughout the last couple of years, but that was a brilliant kick. She struck it perfectly, and obviously she's kicked a number of goals, a lot on the run, but also being able to take a set shot like that in a game like this is really good as well.
So I think our scoreboard might have given that goal to Subiaco, which would make the game a little bit more interesting, but it is actually 8-8 to 2-4 in favour of the Black and Whites. It's a 40-point margin now. These are the biggest of the game. So in the ruck, the 225s go at it. Filicamo tries to work her way through some traffic, a little toe poke. Great tackle from Bowen. Doesn't mind that aspect of the game. So you know the East Fremantle team pretty well, Dickie. Who's the matchup for Houghton next week? If you had the East Fremantle coach's job, which way would you be going to try to shut down someone like Gemma Houghton?
Yeah, geez, it is a tough matchup to consider. I know Gooch has played a fair bit through the midfield, but she has played back a little bit as well. So whether from a physicality point of view, throw someone like her down there, but you might want to obviously through the guts as well. But I think you're going to need to try to match her with an AFLW standard player to be able to compete. So yeah, someone like a Gooch, just to hold her accountable, I think might be the way to go.
Quick snap here from guard. That's a clever goal. No, it's been touched off the boot. She's got her hands out asking the umpire what happened there. I didn't think anyone touched it, but according to the man in the green shirt, there was a finger on the kick and a behind only. It's been that sort of day for Subiaco. Nothing much has gone right for them. And Swans have dominated. They kicked a goal in the first minute of the game through Houghton. And they haven't looked like giving up the lead from that moment on. Maguire short this time out of the goal square towards Bowen. She goes longer. Piscaneri makes a contest in the air. Cowie tries to sidestep an opponent. Gives it off to Piscaneri. Her kick very narrow all the way into the pocket. Peskett is there. Hurried kick. Piscaneri takes the mark and wants to play on. Bowen was alert to that. Tackled her and forced the hand pass. Piscaneri follows up again. Went charging at Osborne. Here's Guard. Hooks it across the body. Back into that same right forward pocket. Peskett. A little slap away. Diving in on top. And holding it up for Subiaco is Ritchie. See a ball up.
Subi have set up well behind the footy here. Obviously, Bowen was able to find a short kick and almost broke that line.
Here's Miller, one of those players who had set up in the zone, making it tough for Swans to exit from about 49 metres out. Sends it very long to the goal square. Big fist from Maguire. Knocks it away. Rode and Matthews in a foot race. Matthews will get there first. Didn't take the ball cleanly though. Rode comes back a second time. She's tackled and loses the football. Cameron tries to slap it out to a teammate. Matthews diving in on top of it again. And the umpire will call for the football. Just over 4 minutes remaining in the preliminary final. It's been a great day if you're a black and white supporter. They're heading to the grand final next week at Mineral Resources Park to take on East Fremantle. Fourth dropping a mark she normally would take. Strom did very well. And then kicks it into space. Charging forward, Davison. Oh, terrible bounce for her. Backing her up was Michaela Hyde. Couldn't find the handle on the football. Strom does very well beneath the knees. Little hand pass to Davison again. High kick. Houghton sandwich, but she makes a contest. Can't mark. Good fend off. Nice bit of work down there by Golisano. The kick didn't quite hit the target of Piscaneri on the way out. Fourth. Quick hand pass to Claire Ortlip. Her kick into the middle. Bounces well for Filicamo. Diving smother from the black and whites. And they keep the ball in their control. Gibson tried to be a bit funky there with her kick. Miller's having none of that. Tries to barge her way through. She's caught by Osborne. Kick goes sideways off her boot. Fourth's kick. Oh, Maguire, a one-hander. She's got some skill, has Emily Maguire.
She's taken one like that on me before, so...
Viney wrapped up in a good tackle by Ferguson. And that's holding the ball. Ferguson brought into the team after missing last week. She might well have booked her place in the grand final team next week. Webb now kicks towards half forward and Matthews mark. She's knocked over after taking the mark. That will be 50. And Matthews will go right to the goal line. And Swans will put their 9th goal on the board. And the girls on the Swans bench, they're up and about now. They're on their feet. You can see actually looking at Emma O'Driscoll down there, she's got a big ice pack on her left shoulder. Let's hope that's not serious. She's just wanting to take that off now as well. So that would be a concern for them going into the grand final. Yeah, meanwhile, Matthews is going to kick the goal.
Just goes hard at the footy. You'd like to hope that it's just sort of precautionary, a little bit of soreness, nothing too serious. But yeah, she's someone that tends to go in hard for the ball, so no doubt will come out with some knocks and bruises and stuff from a game.
So a massive lead now for Swan Districts. It's 45 points their way. Their biggest win this year was 68 points against Peel. Subiaco suffered their biggest loss last week of 28 points. Well, this one is going to beat that quite comfortably. And the signs are good for the black and whites heading into next week's grand final. Piscaneri wins in the ruck. Davison about to be caught by Filicamo. In comes Cameron. Does well to win the hard ball. She's thrown to ground without it eventually. And she'll get a free kick. So heartbreaking for Subiaco, Ticky, after sitting on top of the ladder for pretty much the entire season and then out in straight sets. It's a pretty bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, I think that's happened in a previous season to Subi. They were, I think, almost undefeated throughout the season and then went out in straight sets. So, yeah, that might be playing on their mind a little bit as well.
Guard takes a mark. As we tick into the final minute of the contest. Guard towards half forward. Nice mark by Darrick. Spins onto that left boot. Long towards full forward. Peskett makes the spoil on Tester and then follows up with a great tackle. Probably should have been rewarded. Osborne, been a tower of strength in defence. She'll win this contest again, although caught. Good tackle from Rosengrave. Peskett involved again. Accidental soccer went to Subiaco. Now Rachel Ortlip with a quick kick into the pocket. Tester chases hard. Keeps the ball inside the line. Hand pass over the top. Brianna Hyde gets in the way for Swan Districts. And we'll see a boundary throw in. The Swans bench is about to erupt. They know they're in a grand final now. They're just waiting for the clock to tick to 18 minutes. We'll see this boundary throw in and then not a whole lot more. Ebony Antonio stands on her feet. She handshakes Bowen. Stannard is there alongside O'Driscoll as well. And they're about to let out a big cheer because Swans are in the grand final. What an effort from the Black and Whites. Finished third on the table. They knocked off Claremont last week in very wet, tough conditions, and today in perfect conditions. They've blitzed Subiaco from start to finish. And Alana Dickey, they've won by 45 points and will go into next week's grand final with so much confidence.
Yeah, Swans really hit full strength coming into finals. I think it was probably something that they sort of had, I guess, an advantage against other teams, that no one saw what they had, their full package, until come finals time. So, you know, having players like Ebony Antonio come in towards the back end of the season as well, obviously a leader at the club too. So, players like that coming in, and then obviously Mim Strom, young under-18 player, but has played a fantastic role for the club over the back end of the season as well. So I think they've come together really, really well, and they're so predictable to each other. So around the ground, they just sort of know where their players are going to move into and move out of, and I think that's why they can sort of put it to advantage and know that someone's going to get onto it. And it makes it extremely hard, obviously, for the opposition to be able to match up on.
Well, tremendous performance from Swans. We'll catch their song shortly. They'll sort themselves out into a huddle after congratulating Subiaco on their season. And it would be very tough for them to accept, having been the best team in the competition throughout the home and away season, rarely challenged in any games during that time. And unfortunately for them, their season ends a week before they would ideally have liked. So they'll go away and lick their wounds and come back in 2020 and have a crack at a premiership again next year. Cara Donnellan, the Swans coach, has headed over to congratulate a number of the Subiaco players that she knows so well. Meanwhile, the Swan District's huddle is starting to form. And there'll be a big rendition of their very famous song in just a moment. I think they're just waiting on their coach to come back over. She's going to join the huddle now. And they're a very happy team down there at Bassendean. Pretty good feeling right now for Swans.
Yeah, definitely. They'd be going in very confident, I think, knowing that, they can back in their structures, back in their performances. Individual performances throughout the season have been really well, but I think they've really come together as a team. And East Fremantle will be watching on, I think, and taking notes, trying to figure out how they can counter Swan Districts. But the biggest thing that I observe is that they're so quick on the transition, and if you're not quick enough to react coming out of your forward line, their back line sets the play up really well for their team. So it's going to be important that East Fremantle are on top of that. Otherwise, Swans are going to make them pay.
So the huddle's broken up. There's the Subiaco huddle as well. Some disappointed girls in there, I'm sure. It's been a fantastic season for them, but the last 2 weeks just haven't gone their way. They ran into an in-form East Fremantle last week, and possibly a team that's in even better form today. Swan District's outstanding from the opening minute of the game. They kicked a goal through Gemma Houghton in that first minute, and they were never seriously challenged from then on. Meanwhile, Subiaco unfortunately couldn't find their best form at the time of the season that they really needed to. So their season is done. And Swan Districts march on to the grand final. If you had to make a tip right now, a week out from the grand final, not knowing team selections or weather or anything like that, as we look at some of the highlights of today's game, which way would you be going?
Yeah, so look, after playing in the game against Swan Districts last week, knowing going into the game that they'd be at full strength, it was going to be a challenge for us. I knew that it was going to take full belief from our team in order to counter that, and obviously in those conditions. Obviously, we weren't able to do that, and the biggest thing is they've just got such depth of talent across the board. They're young under-18 players just all seem to step up and have confidence in the way that they're playing as well. So for me, it's Swans. I just don't think that, that East Fremantle will be able to match them across the ground. As much as East Fremantle have a strong group of players as well, a number of under-18 girls too. So Roxy, that's been playing up forward for them, has had an incredible season too. But I just think that in regards to, the depth of talent across the board, I'm not sure that East Fremantle will be able to match it either.
It's a quirky season, isn't it? I mean, Subiaco, the best team through the home and away season, beaten comfortably in 2 finals, and East Fremantle taking the direct passage through to the grand final, and yet everyone would be saying that Swan District's a favourite for the grand final, despite the fact that they won 2 games less than Subiaco, and they've had to do it the hard way to get through to the grand final. They're the team that's in the best form, and like you say, the way the season sets itself up with AFLW players only being available at certain times, there's a limit on the amount of games that they can play during the home and away season. It makes for a very different season to most sporting competitions that you'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a credit to the planning of the coaches, because the coaches have to factor that into selections in season, also considering the buys and general buys throughout the year with an odd number of teams. There was a couple of times where teams had double buys, and you had to factor that into your planning as well. And I think what I've noticed of Swans, they've been able to manage that quite well. I think they were the only team to come off a bye and win a game in the end. So they beat us coming off the bye. So I think they found out how to manage that, whereas other teams sort of struggled. So it's probably a bit of Juddy's exposure at the AFLW level potentially that she's sharing amongst her players.
Do you think that the fact that they've had to play so many of their young kids because their AFLW players haven't been available for most of the year has actually in the end been a real benefit for them? Because you look at all those State 18s girls and even girls like we've mentioned, Sinead Davison during the year, who's come out of community football, really come from nowhere. They've been given opportunities. The coach has seen what they can do. She then backs them in at this point of the season as well. There's no doubt in those players' minds that they're good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. I think that it plays a big part in their development, getting given the opportunity to play number one, but obviously to play against the best of the best. So a large number of those girls have played in the under-18s championships, which would obviously prepare them for that. Obviously the programs that Deggers and Ellie are running supports the development of these girls. So I think with Swans having a large number of those girls in those programs, it probably puts the trust from Juddy in those girls that, look, these girls are recommended, they've been selected, let's trust them in and back them in and give them a chance. And yeah, the girls have obviously proven that. They've learnt and grown throughout the season, and they're being able to impact across the board and provide a bit more versatility for Swans as well.
Fantastic performance from Swan Districts today. Fantastic performance from Alana Dickey as well on debut in commentary. Definitely a future there. Don't hang the boots up just yet. I'm sure there's a bit more football left in you as well, but it's been great to have your insight into today's game as well in commentary. Thanks very much for joining us.
No, thanks for having me. I think I was more nervous for this than I have been all season for playing, so thanks for having me on board.
You did a great job, almost as good as the job that Swan Districts did today. They were outstanding, and they go charging into next week's grand final at Mineral Resources Park. As we mentioned through the call, the game will be broadcast live on Channel 7. But if you want to go along, it'll be a fantastic event to get to. Just $5 will get you in. The Rogers Cup kicks things off, and then the reserves game as well. Kids are free. Plenty of activities and games from 10 a.m. The league bounce down time will be confirmed over the weekend once the AFL set their finals up for next week. You can do kick to kick at all of the breaks and after the games as well. Food and beverage, giveaways, inflatables, everything going on at Lathlane Park, Mineral Resources Park next week. So please get along there and support what's been an outstanding season for the WAFLW. The first ever season is coming to an end next week. Grand final will be between East Fremantle and Swans after Swans smashed Subiaco today, winning 9-8 to 2-5. The Black and Whites into the grand final against the Sharks next week. Thanks very much for sticking with us with all of the streaming throughout the season. It's been a tremendous effort from the Footy Commission and the team at Front Row Screens. So thank you very much to everyone involved. We've really enjoyed being a part of it. And we look forward to next week's grand final. Swan Districts taking on East Fremantle at Mineral Resources Park next Saturday, starting in the afternoon at some time. Get down to Mineral Resources Park or watch it on Channel 7. We wish you all the best.
This WAFLW live stream is proudly brought to you by Optus, proud naming rights partner of the WAFL, and WAFLW. Booper, proud sponsor of WA football. and the West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams.